Dear children, here this is the last part of our first lesson. Here in this part of the lesson, we are going to study about the empire in Africa, empires in East Asia, and empires in medieval America. These three things that we are studying here in this part of the lesson. In the first part, we are going to study about the empire in Africa. Empire in Africa. Mali Empire was the empire. Mali Empire was the empire in Africa. It was in West Africa. And Kangan Musa was the emperor. Kangan Musa was the emperor. And he was very rich emperor. Kangan Musa was the very rich emperor in the medieval period. And his empire, Mali Empire, it was very vast and very rich. Mali Empire, it was very rich because it was blessed with gold treasures. Gold mines were there in Mali Empire. Kangan Musa was the richest emperor. There is a story about him. His pilgrimage to Mecca. It was in 1324. At the time of his visit to Mecca, at the time of his pilgrimage, at the time of his journey to Mecca, Kangan Musa distributed a lot of gold. He had carried a lot of gold coins along with him. A lot of gold coins and gold ornaments along with him at the time of his journey to Mecca. And at the time of his journey, on the way of his journey, and he had distributed these gold coins and gold ornaments to poor people and donated to the mosques and other educational centers, and for charity he donated a lot of wealth. This incident, Kangan Musa's visit or pilgrimage to Mecca, it is world famous. It is very famous in world history. Kangan Musa's Mali Empire, it was very vast and very rich. Its map is given there in our textbook. You please see that map. Timbuktu was the important city of medieval Africa in Mali Empire. Timbuktu. It was a trade center too. The traders or the merchants from various parts of the world had visited Timbuktu for trade. The traders from Venice, Granada and Genoa, from these places there were the merchants too who reached in Timbuktu and made trade. And it was a center of knowledge also. There was a Timbuktu University, University of Timbuktu. The students from various parts of the world had visited, had joined in that university, University of Timbuktu. And Kangan Musa had established great mosque in Timbuktu, great mosque. And it was a center of Islamic studies. Great Mosque, it was a center of Islamic studies. And the Mali Empire, it was the important empire in medieval Africa, medieval West Africa. Timbuktu was the important city, important trade center, and it was very wealthy, and it was a center of education and center of trade and religious center too. The important ruler was Kangan Musa, and he was also called as Mansa Musa in European records. All these we have to study in the empire in Africa. Next we are going to study about the empires in China, in East Asia, China and Japan. The map of China and Japan, the East Asia, that is given there in our textbook. You please find that and look at the places that are the empires existed in far east of Asia. You please see that. China, in China, the administration system, it was very efficient. Here we are seeing the Tang dynasty, Tang, Song, Ming and Manchu dynasties had ruled China during medieval period. Tang dynasty, Song dynasty, Ming dynasty and Manchu dynasty. Here we are going to study about the Tang dynasty. They were more efficient in administration. Tang dynasty, it was very efficient. They had conducted competitive examinations to select officials, to appoint officers in government sector. They had conducted the competitive examinations like our governments are doing now. Competitive examinations were conducted to select the employees. And educational excellence, it was the criteria for selection. That means they had given more importance to education. Several education centers were there in China at that time. And the Chinese emperors were tolerant towards the all religions at that time. They were tolerant towards all religions, and they had promoted trade and commerce also. So the dynasties, under the dynasties like Tang, Song, Ming and Manchu dynasties, China emerged as a trade center and a power center and an administration center during medieval period. In Japan too, just like any other empires in medieval period, there was the emperor. The supreme head was emperor in Japan administration system also. But the landlords or the feudal lords called the shoguns. The feudal lords in Japan were known as shoguns. These shoguns had exercised power at that time under the rule of the emperor. They had exercised more power than emperor. The supreme power, it was in the hands of the emperor. Then also all the administrative activities were done by the shoguns or the landlords or the feudal lords of Japan. And under the rule of shogun, the Tokyo city in Japan that emerged as a trade center, a power center. That's about Japan. And next we are going to study about America, medieval America. You please see there in our textbook. Mississippi, Caribbean, Magellan and Patayan. These were the important ancient civilizations of North American continent. Mayan, Inca, Aztec, Toltec civilizations were the important civilizations of South American continent. These were the ancient civilizations of North America and South America. In the medieval period too, these civilizations continued. The administration systems under these civilizations that continued in medieval period too in North America and in South America. In the medieval America, both the North and the South American continents. These civilizations were destroyed at the time of the attack of Europeans. As a result of colonization, the Britain had made colonies in North America. They had destroyed the civilizations in North America. And Spain and Portugal had reached in South America and they established their colonies in South America. That we will study in our next year in 10th standard. We will study about the European invasion and British invasion in North America and South America. The American civilizations that had existed in the ancient history, in the ancient time, that had continued in the medieval period too. You please see the map of North America and South America here. You please see here. Here we have studied about several empires that existed in medieval period in West Europe, East Europe, West Asia, Middle Asia and East Asia, and in Africa and in America. In all these continents there were empires. About that empires and the emperors who ruled in these places that also we studied. These were the administrative systems that existed at that time. Then also the common feature of this period, it was feudalism. Feudalism. It was a system based on the ownership of land, landlordism. While saying about the administration system in Japan, we told that shoguns, the landlords of Japan, had exercised power in Japan. Just like that in Europe also, there were feudalism. The socio-political economic system existed in medieval period, in medieval Europe, based on law, based on land, was known as feudalism. That is given there in our textbook. The socio-political economic system existed in Europe based on land, was known as feudalism. This feudalism began to decline in Europe after medieval history. At the end of the medieval age, feudalism began to decline. There were some reasons for the decline of feudalism that are given there in our textbook as a table. You please see that table. Agricultural production decreased due to climate change, famine, lack of food, the situation of death, huge death as a result of the lack of food, that is called as famine, plague and black death. It was a disease, plague and black death. Crusades, a war between Catholic Church and Islamic religion, Christian religion and Islamic religion, that was called as crusade. King's monopoly of gunpowder, the invention of gunpowder that changed the system, administration system, the power system. The king had got the monopoly, the power to use gunpowder. That's why king could got a supremacy upon the landlords. And peasant revolts, the farmers' revolts that emerged in various parts of the world against feudal lords, and the emergence of nation states that were the important reasons for the decline of feudalism. And in this lesson, we have studied about different administration systems that existed in different parts of the world in medieval period, in Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. There were different types of administration systems and different type of power centers. And these power centers and their reforms that gave a way to modern age. And we will study about the modern age history later. Now we are going to wind up. Namaskaram.